Rishi Sunak extending the furlough scheme, why it's a good thing, and a lot of the problems with it. So obviously, I support the scheme, of course. But there are many problems with the furlough scheme. Let's not get twisted now. So let's talk about that. So the furlough scheme will be extended across the UK until March, the end of March. Sunak has confirmed he'll pay 80%, up to £2,500 a month. He told the Commons the government will review the policy in January. The Chancellor said his intention was to give businesses security through the winter. The security we are providing will protect millions of jobs, he added. And what this does is stops millions of people from going on to universal credit and realising things about the system, really. The furlough scheme or jobs retention scheme subsidises the wages of people who cannot do their jobs, either because their workplace is closed or because there is no longer work for them. Mr. Sunak said it would apply throughout the UK, saying that the country had a treasury for the whole of the United Kingdom. And so what the irony here is, he didn't have money for Manchester or the North. As part of the revised scheme, anyone who's made redundant after the 23rd of September can be rehired and put back on furlough. So if you were let go after the 23rd of September, call your former employers and try and get yourself back on the furlough scheme, because it will most likely be higher than universal credit. A job support scheme, a less generous form of support that had originally been set to replace the furlough scheme in November, has now been postponed. Now you can see here the reason why they postponed this is because a lot of people realise how bad the system is. A lot of people in the south would have felt that pinch, and they didn't want that. They didn't want their Tory heartlands to feel it. They don't care about the north because they're not going to win those seats back. Unless Starmer does something really stupid, or Brexit turns out to be a utopia. So anyways, let's carry on. So what other measures did the Chancellor announce? So Mr. Sunak announced billions of pounds to support for the economy, including more money for the self-employed. Honestly, for self-employed people, it should fall through the same scheme. There should be business support and there should be people support. So, self-employed people should get the same amount of money, 80% of their normal income. I don't know why they're not doing that and why they're making it more complicated than it has to be. Self-support income scheme, SEISS, will be increased, with the third grant covering November to January calculated at 80% of trading profits up to £7,500. At the same time, the Chancellor raised guaranteed funding to the UK's devolved administrations by £2 billion to £16 billion, but many people remain eligible for help, including the newly self-employed and those who pay themselves in dividends, freelancers and sole traders who previously had a trading profit of more than £50,000. So with the dividends, I don't care because you make your money through shares, so your money makes money. I don't care. For freelancers and sole traders, they should just do the 80% thing for the furlough pay. So say, you pay yourself, say 15 grand a year, 15 grand a year. That's how much your business made. That's how much your salary was from your business, whatever, you're self-employed or sole trader, whatever. You should just get 80% of that. I don't understand why they're making it so confusing. So what it's like to be on furlough. So Chef Louise Solomon at 49 is going back on furlough from midnight and says it's a huge sense of relief. She says without the support, she and her wife, a key worker, would only have lasted a few months before things got tight. I have card loans and companies won't want to be paid regardless. I'd have to sell my car and look at what else I can get rid of. Instead, the furlough extension has given us some breathing space. It gives you that security. You can sleep at night knowing money's coming in. But the thing is, there was a lot of people who were made redundant before September, or 23rd of September, who would not be feeling this sense of relief, and that's something we need to remember. There are a lot of people who won't be benefiting from furlough. I know a few people who wouldn't be benefiting from the furlough system because it was implemented late, because the Chancellor wanted to lowball people. Let's not get twisted now. He wanted to lowball people with his jobs retention thing, but now he realises it's not going to work because they messed up the second wave. They messed it up royally. And the worse the coronavirus gets, the more lockdowns we have, the more people will be impacted. So what is the political reaction? Shadow Chancellor Annalise Dodds, who, she needs a lot more stage presence and she needs to get out there a lot more because a lot of people don't know about her. I don't know a lot about her, so she has to get out there a lot more. She's a relatively unknown, especially a person in such a high position in the Shadow Cabinet. She should be known. People who knew who John McDonnell was. People don't know who Annalise Dodds is. She pointed out that he had previously ridiculed a furlough extension as a blunt instrument, but Mr. Sunak defended his rapid change policy, saying it is not a weakness to be fast-moving in a crisis, but rather a strength. And I would have said was, yes, that is a strength, but not when you knew the solution was the 80% furlough and you didn't take it. That's a weakness, because instead of making the right decision, you made the wrong decision, and now you're trying to make it look like you're a strong leader who knows what they're doing. It's an illusion. It's a trick. And so if we look here, see some of the problems around it, more calls for people for more help for arts freelancers who face food using food banks. And, these people shouldn't be, in the system. We should either do for everyone who was made redundant from since the pandemic started, really should be getting either 80% furlough, or you do a universal basic income. You do one of the two. You can't do this nonsense of we're gonna help some people out but not other people. It don't make sense, Chief. It don't make sense. You're gonna alienate a lot of people doing this. The government has been urged to do more to help performers and other arts freelancers as venues are shut again during the lockdown in England and Wales. And the thing you need to remember is these venues have been shut because of the pandemic that this government has failed to deal with. And you can point out other countries who have done badly, but our government has done comparatively some of the worst. We are very much up there with deaths and cases. Labour MP Chris Elmore told the House of Commons that there were growing numbers of freelancers, musicians, performance artists who were excluded from support. Theatre workers faced adding to the queues at food banks. Another MP said, Arts Minister Caroline something said the government was working very hard to help. You keep saying you're working very hard and doing all this stuff, yeah, but you're not. She said Arts Council England has allocated £119 million for individuals on top of the £1.57 billion for venues. And the thing that annoys me so much about the BBC is, tell us how much that is per person. Because as we covered with their support for disabled people, it's about £14 for people who are disabled and unable to go to work and other things. It's £14 each. So tell us what the number is per person, because they always do the big numbers. But break it down. Tell us. What are the numbers? Because you don't tell us amongst how many people that's going to be split by. Culture Secretary Oliver Dowan acknowledged that a third of freelancers in all walks of life are not being able to access the self-employed income support scheme, where the government confirmed on Thursday it would be extended to cover 80% of average trading profits. I understand that many challenges faced by freelancers, and I hear about it every day. Ms. Stone said this is the case across the country. Across the economy, 66% of freelancers will be able to benefit from the Treasury scheme, which has been increased again by the Chancellor. But look, Rob, just do the furlough thing. Honestly, just do the furlough thing. I don't understand why they're trying to make this so confused with all these different schemes. Just do the furlough scheme for everyone who's basically lost out on work, or you do a UBI. It's not very hard. It's not very hard. Exodus of talent. So, responding to Sunak's announcement, Deborah Annette, chief executive of the Incorporated Society of Musicians, said she was delighted, but that expanding the eligibility criteria remains essential for preventing the exodus of highly skilled talent from our world-leading art sector and things like that. Freelancers will benefit. So, in response, Miss that Caroline lady said, our world-beating cultural and creative industries are, everything in this country is world-beating. Feels like the world is beating us up. Are absolutely nothing without the people who work in them, and we're working very hard. I don't want to bother reading the rest of this because it's just annoying. Look, the National Audit Office reported last month that up to 2.9 million people have fallen through the cracks of the furlough and SEISS schemes. Also in October, the charity Help Musicians published the results of a survey saying more than half of musicians were not earning anything at all from music, and that 4 in 5 were worried about being able to pay their household bills. Before the lockdown, 22% of businesses in the arts, entertainment and recreation industry had temporarily closed or paused trading more than in any sector, and they're going to be impacted because there's no live shows. That's why a lot of these people make their money through live shows, performance actors. So, look, if you can't sense my frustration, I'll put it this way. You can either furlough everyone who has lost out because of this pandemic that your government failed, your guys, Boris Johnson, your guys, failed to deal with. Should I say guys, sorry, people. I don't want to be, don't want to exclude Priti Patel and the other women in your cabinet and in your party, looking at you, Theresa May, from this one. Either you furlough everyone who has lost out from work due to this pandemic. That's the only way that people are going to be able to get through this properly, and also the only way that you're not going to lose a ton of support in the polls, because I've already seen the polls. You're down by 5 points to the Labour Party, and that's only going to get worse. Or, so you do that, you furlough everyone from last year, right? Anyone who's lost that work or jobs, it's going to cost a lot of money, but that money's going to be put back into the economy, so it's not that bad. Or you do a UBI. It's your choice. With that, I'll end my turn. I'll put down a face down in my turn because I'm getting real tired of covering this sort of stuff. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.